You've created a monster, a snarky, AI-powered quizmaster.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
It possesses infinite knowledge and a burning desire to get quizzical. This video is the final battle.
Do or do not. There is no try.
We're focused on peak performance and deployment readiness. We'll slap on those last layers of slick design and then get behind the scenes to optimize every moving part. We'll look bottlenecks dead in the eye and say,
Hasta la vista, baby.
fine-tune those API calls to be lean and mean. And finally, go for launch with Flutterflow's built-in deployment tools for cross-platform domination. All right, crew?
Get to the chopper!
It's showtime. Okay, here's the plan. Our quiz app is looking great, but there are a couple of UI and UX pieces that will give our app that final 20% polish. Next, we'll prepare all the elements required to push our app to the App Store and Play Store, firstly for testing and then to get ready for deployment. Next, we'll push that deploy button and actually get our users testing our app. After the user enters their topic, there's a bit too long of a gap before the audio of our host says, "Get ready to play the great big quiz of topic." And that's because we don't get that file back until everything has been completed on the build ship side, including the entire quiz generation on the OpenAI side. There's really no need for that because we already know the topic the user has chosen. So I've removed that ElevenLabs generation from our build ship workflow and instead I'm going to use a nifty library from Marketplace called ElevenLabs Text-to-Speech. This is an insanely easy library to implement in Flutterflow that gives us that instant intro experience. Now let's walk through integrating ElevenLabs Text-to-Speech into our Flutterflow project. Start by heading to your project settings, then scroll down to Project Dependencies. From the drop-down, select ElevenLabs Text-to-Speech Library. Once it's added, you'll see new configuration fields appear. This is where you'll paste in your API key and set up any additional options, though it's really just the API key that's a required field. Next, let's choose a voice. Sign in to the ElevenLabs dashboard, and you can browse through the available AI voices and pick one that fits your app's personality. Copy the voice ID, then jump back to Flutterflow and paste it into the configuration field. For more granular control over your chosen voice, click the Use button and type a sample into the text-to-speech input.
Tonight, we investigate True Crime Australia, shocking border security dramas and Aussies abroad gone rogue. Join me for your next dramatic. Which company led Flutterflow's Series A funding round in 2019?
You can then adjust the stability and similarity sliders to fine-tune the voice and hit Generate. You should hear your chosen voice reading the question instantly. Finally, you'll find your API key in the ElevenLabs dashboard under your profile. Make sure you give this API key just the read permissions that are required and copy it over to Flutterflow. Finally, it's important to note the other things this library is importing into your project. You'll see it's importing an app state, 2 components, 1 custom action, and some configuration file snippets, which relate to permissions that this library requires. You should make sure there's no conflicts and that you're comfortable with this code being added to your project. The final step is to add the ElevenLabs text-to-speech action where we want to call out our great big quiz of topic. Now, this all happens in the quiz of header card component. On initialization, we have a condition here which checks that our user is playing with sound and also checks that our component is in the expanded state. We then add an action, which is a custom action from our ElevenLabs text-to-speech library called Play Audio from ElevenLabs. We'll combine some text, and that will be get ready to play the great big quiz of, and a space, then a dynamic component which will come from our component parameters as our topic. We also need to add our API key and voice ID, which we've already got from ElevenLabs.
Welcome to the great big quiz of everything. You start the game by choosing the first topic, but don't get too comfy. After that, I'm taking over with 4 more rounds, each more tenuously linked to your initial choice. Think you know it all? Now's your chance to prove it. Let's get quizzical. Get ready to play. The great big quiz of visual app development.
Now let's make our app feel alive in your hands. Every great mobile app uses haptic feedback strategically, and in Flutterflow it's criminally easy to set up. Select any button or action. Let's say we select the answer that our user has chosen. Go to Actions, Add Action, Haptic Feedback. For correct answers, use heavy, that satisfying thump of success. For wrong answers, we'll use medium, just enough to feel a disappointment. For general navigation, light is perfect, subtle but responsive. And a pro tip, don't go haptic crazy. Use it like seasoning, a little goes a long way. Finally, we're going to enhance the way the user progresses to the next round by implementing dynamic topic progression. This will take the user's most recent topic and generate a list of similar topics that the next round's quiz will be based on. And because we've already programmed our new quiz workflow in BuildShip to know the level the user is on, this will ratchet up the quiz difficulty with each new round. In addition to that deep personalization that keeps users engaged, it also creates that one more game addictive loop that keeps users coming back. Let's start in BuildShip with a new workflow called Generate Next Topics. It'll be triggered by a REST API call that accepts a topic and a previous topics list, or array, which is a list of topics the user has already played. The main node in this workflow is a generator node, which will use OpenAI's GPT-4 model to generate new topics. It's configured with a system prompt that instructs the AI to act as a quiz topic generator, providing 5 topics related to the input topic, but different enough to keep things interesting. It also ensures that previously played topics are not repeated. We'll give it all the relevant parameters like the API key, the prompts, the model, temperature, and max tokens, many of which are simply the defaults here. And the node returns a JSON object in the format of an object with a key of topics, which is an array, making it simple to plug directly into our Flutterflow project. This workflow ensures your quiz app always feels fresh and personalized. By leveraging AI to suggest new, non-repetitive topics based on each user's path, you maximize engagement and replayability, key ingredient for viral, sticky apps. Now for arguably the main event. One of the very best things you can do as an app developer is to get your app into the hands of beta testers. The temptation so often becomes that you want to ship the most perfect MVP or the bug-free beta. Unfortunately, neither exist. There really is no better piece of first-party data than literally watching your potential users use your product. The easiest way to get your app into the hands of testers is to use Apple's TestFlight and Google's Open Testing functionality. Both require you to start the deployment process onto the App Store. There are some required assets that we'll need to prepare. Firstly, we'll need an app icon. And while we'll need to design this ourselves, Flutterflow makes it easy to assign this to our app in the App Assets section of the settings screen. Similarly, we'll need a launch screen, as well as a feature graphic for the Play Store, which is 1024 by 500 pixels, and screenshots for different device sizes as well as operating systems. I've always found a service called app-mockup.com particularly good for these. Both Apple and Google require our app to have a privacy policy URL. This is absolutely mandatory. And now's the time to start preparing your engaging app title and description for the App Store. Let's talk Apple's App Store requirements. With Apple, you'll need to be part of the Apple Developer Program. Now, there's a $99 per year membership fee, and there's really no way around this. Arguably, one of the best things Apple gives you for your $99 a year developer fee is access to Apple's TestFlight beta testing system. It's integrated into the App Store ecosystem, and it's incredibly powerful. It's so simple to set up. You simply upload your build to App Store Connect via the deployment screen in Flutterflow. Provide some simple test information and your screenshots, and you can invite up to 10,000 external testers. You get 90 days of testing per build, and your updates are automatically distributed to testers. You'll get some internal crash reporting and feedback collection, and there's a much less stringent and quicker review process for builds that go out to external testers. You'll start the process by creating a bundle identifier on the Apple Developer site. Visit the Certificates, IDs, and Profiles page, and then create a new App ID. Enter the bundle ID that you've used in Flutterflow and enable any necessary capabilities, things like push notifications. Then you'll move across to App Store Connect to add your app. Once you've added your app, you'll get an App ID in App Store Connect under My Apps under App Information. Paste it into Flutterflow in the mobile deployment screen. You'll then generate an API key by going to App Store Connect, Users and Access, Integrations, Team Keys. Select the plus button, give the key a name, assign the App Manager role, and generate it. You'll then download this private key, which you can only do once, and upload it to Flutterflow's mobile deployment screen under App Store Private Key. You'll then need the Issuer ID, which you get from Users and Access, Integrations, Team Keys in App Store Connect. Again, paste it back to Flutterflow. Finally, you need the key ID from the same place, Users and Access, Integrations, Team Keys. Paste it into the key ID field in Flutterflow. Then you're all set to deploy a test build. On the Google side, Google's Play Store Open Testing program allows you to send out your build to literally anyone that has your Play Store link. You simply create a release in Play Console, which you can do via the deployment screen in Flutterflow. You generate a testing link, and then anyone can test your app immediately. There's a one-time developer fee of $25 US, which gets you access to the Play Store console. And then to get started, you'll create an app on the console, filling out all the required details. Then, you'll need to set up a service account in the Google Cloud console and link it to your Google Play developer account by inviting the service account as a user with the right permissions, like I'm doing here. You'll then upload the service account's JSON key to Flutterflow. The first time you deploy to the internal testing track. The first time you do this, the deployment will fail, but don't worry, that's all part of the plan. This allows you to get the AAB file, which you can download by clicking this button here. Then go into the Play console, into internal testing, create new release, choose a signing key, and upload that AAB bundle. This kicks off your very first release and means you'll be able to deploy from Flutterflow moving forward. And just some hints from me about how to approach your beta test and what to tell your beta testers. Start by saying that this is a potentially bug-ridden, non-final version of your app. Get them to focus on specific features like the quiz generation or audio playback. Ask them to test on different devices and in different network conditions. Finally, ask them to try and break things. This will help your testers be in the mindset of a developer rather than an end user. It will also mean they're more invested to come back and use your app further on in the testing process to see if things have improved, as they undoubtedly will have. And that's a wrap on our 4-part journey. You build something that generates infinite content, speaks with a personality, and can scale to millions of users. But most importantly, you've experienced the full cycle of modern app development, from idea to deployment readiness, with all the optimization, testing, and polish that separates the pros from the hobbyists. Drop a comment below with your deployment stories, and as we didn't cover that final step of submitting for official review, let me know if you'd be interested in a future video where we go through that in a real-life example. Until next time, keep building, and remember, sometimes the best way to learn is just to launch.